What's up, Canadian Football League fans? I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and don't forget to check out Football Gameplan's latest book, Stiff Arming Football Myths, available on our website at footballgameplan.com/books, and we have these both available in PDF as well as in paperback form. Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bring you our preview of the 102nd Grey Cup between the Calgary Stampeders and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Now we're going to take a look at some coaching points for both teams in this ballgame, starting with the East Division winner, the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
For the Tiger Cats in this ballgame, you look at strength versus strength. They're the top rushing defense in the league, going against John Cornish, who's the most outstanding player in the CFL this year. And if they can't stop the run, it's going to be a long day. So I think their run defense has to prove its worth this game versus Calgary. And they have to be able to sustain drives. Right now, Calgary has one of the best second down defensive football teams in the game. And if Hamilton can't continue to stay on the field and slowly shrink this ball game, they could struggle. So they have to find ways to sustain drives versus the Stampeders. And their red zone defense has to do a better job in locking down once they get inside the 20. Right now, they're 6th in the CFL as far as allowing touchdowns is concerned. So again, simple things that they can do to ensure success. Now, they've done a better job of all of these things toward the end of the season, which is why they're here in the Grey Cup. But again, all will be magnified versus one of the best football teams in the game. And for the Stampeders in this ballgame, they're going to have to play winning special teams. They can't allow the Tiger Cats to operate off a half a field. They're going against one of the best return games in the league, with Brandon Banks as one of the best returners in the game. And I would utilize a short passing game to set up the run. The good part about what Calgary has at their disposal with their personnel, Nick Lewis, Marquay McDaniel, those guys can take those short passes and turn them into long gains. That in turn will open up running lanes for John Cornish going against the top rushing defense in the CFL. And I would also play the run on the way to the quarterback. Hamilton right now is not as consistent in running the football as you would like, only averaging 91 yards a game. I think they can get extra aggressive in how they pressure Zach Caleros. One of the biggest X factors in this ballgame for the Tiger Cats will be the play of their special teams. Brandon Banks is one phenomenal returner, had a big-time return last game in the East Final versus Montreal. So again, if they're able to play on a half a field and flip that field position with the kicking game, I think it goes a long way in helping them knock off the Stampeders. And for the Stamps in this ballgame, the biggest X factor is the most outstanding player, running back John Cornish. Despite missing a bunch of games this season, he still led the league in rushing, averaging over 7.8 yards a carry and going over 1,000 yards. And they're going to need every last bit of his yards per carry and every last bit of his yardage output against the best run defense in the game. Grover Covington was an outstanding defensive end for the Hamilton Tiger Cats for a decade, from 1981 to 1991. He was a 4-time CFL All-Star, a 4-time CFL East All-Star, and was a Grey Cup's most outstanding defensive player in the 1986 game, and was inducted into the CFL Hall of Fame in 2000 after racking up 157 sacks, which is still today a CFL record. Earl Lunsford is definitely a Canadian Football League legend. Here's a guy that played in Calgary his entire career, was a 2-time CFL All-Star, 3-time CFL East All-Star, went over 1,000 yards rushing 5 times in his career, and became the first running back in pro football history in 1961 to rush for over a mile. He did that by accomplishing the goal of hitting 1,794 yards. He finished his Calgary Stampede career with 6,994 yards total, 55 rushing touchdowns, and 28 100-yard games. In last year's 101st Grey Cup, the Hamilton Tiger Cats ran into a buzzsaw called the Saskatchewan Roughriders, led by sensational tailback Corey Sheets. In one of the coldest games of the year, the Roughriders defense was able to stymie the high-powered offense of the Ticats, beating them 45-23. In the 87th Grey Cup game in 1999, the Hamilton Tiger Cats took on the Calgary Stampeders in a rematch of last year's 86th Grey Cup game. The Ticats jumped out to a 21-0 halftime lead en route to a 32-21 victory over the Stamps. Quarterback Danny McManus and wide receiver Darren Flutie hooked up for 2 touchdown passes in front of 45,118 spectators as McManus took home the MVP award. The 86th edition of the Grey Cup was an outstanding ball game that came down to the wire as kicker Mark McLaughlin hit a field goal as time expired to win 26-24. Now the Stamps got great play that day from quarterback Jeff Garcia, who took home the game's MVP. I like Calgary to win this ball game. You look at a football team that's strong in every facet. Great offense, great running game, great defense. They can also get after the quarterback, and they've been stout in the secondary all season long. And their offensive line does a great job of moving guys off the spot. So again, very complete football team. No surprise that they're 15-3. And Hamilton will be game. Again, when you have great special teams, you're always going to give yourself a chance to be successful. But I can't trust their running game, and you have to be a well-balanced team if you want to knock off the Stamps. And I also want to give a huge shout out to CFL fan forums for always showing football game plan support.